Hare Krishna, Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji. I would request you to please start, Prabhu. I think the other people will continue joining.
Sure. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanathmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for this 6th session of Vaishnava Characters series. In the last session, we began this topic of forgiveness, right? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So, the external tolerance of has its basis in internal forgiveness. We were discussing that. And we were also discussing based on Haridas Thakur's example, Bhakta Swabhava Agna Dosha Kshama Kare, Krishna Swabhava Bhakta Ninda Sahitena Pare. It is the nature of a devotee to always forgive even greatest offenders, but it is Krishna's nature that he cannot tolerate any blasphemy or criticism done towards his devotees. So he will take the necessary action against the wrongdoers, against the offenders. So naturally, Krishna has a system to punish people who offend devotees, but the emphasis here is a devotee should not hold any grudge. Of course, Krishna also doesn't hold any grudge towards anyone. But when someone does a mistake, an offense, especially towards a devotee, Krishna will take the necessary action. But devotee's heart should be so soft and so accommodative that devotee doesn't take the offenses of great offenders also very seriously. We have seen Yudhishthir Maharaj or Arjuna, they did not take the offenses of Duryodhan so seriously, they were willing to forgive. But it was Krishna who emphasized that Kurukshetra war must be fought and Duryodhan must be punished. Prahlad never had any negativity towards Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad was always forgiving. Okay. But Narasimhadev did not forgive. He punished Hiranyakashipu. Okay. So we have this example of Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur was envied by Gopal, who is that? Gopal Chapal, right? But Srivas Thakur never had any bitter feelings towards Gopal Chapal. He only forgave him, but Mahaprabhu took it seriously. So Gopal Chapal got some leprosy. And we have Haridas Thakur's example also. Just like Srivas Thakur forgave Gopal Chapal, Haridas Thakur forgave Gopal Chakravarti, and even Ramachandra Khan also. So Gopal Chakravarti challenged Haridas Thakur. He said, Haridas Thakur, how can you say that just Namabhas chanting will give you Krishna Prem? Okay. And how can you say that It's an insignificant byproduct. Liberation is an insignificant byproduct of chanting of the holy names. Isn't it too much? It's the highest aspiration of a spiritual seeker to seek liberation. And you are saying that it's a small byproduct of chanting of the holy name. So then he challenged him. And he also said that if what I am saying is truth, then your nose will fall off. So in those days, your nose will fall off is such a big insulting word. It's a great insult to say that your nose will fall off. So different time periods have different ways of honoring people and insulting people. Okay. So there are little cultural coming up. But it literally happened in the case of Gopal Chakravarti. His nose fell off because he got leprosy. Because of challenging and insulting Haridas Thakur, his nose fell off. So that's about him. And also there is Ramachandra Khan, who had sent that prostitute to prove that Haridas Thakur is having some illicit affairs. And he wanted to defame him. Ramachandra Khan wanted to defame Haridas Thakur, but Haridas Thakur was so forgiving to Ramachandra Khan. Later, Ramachandra Khan he got affected with leprosy. And even that prostitute who came, she, in one sense, was innocent. Although she is the one who wanted to degrade, she was just acting like an instrument of Ramachandra Khan. But by the grace of Haridas Thakur, she became a great Vaishnavi. Haridas Thakur had absolutely no envy or no anger towards even that woman, that prostitute who tried to degrade him. You see, he is such an exalted Vaishnava. He is Namacharya, but someone wanted to prove that he was not even following four regulative principles. Right? He wanted to prove that he is so degraded that he is having illicit affairs with other women. So, such a grave, heinous plan. But Haridas Thakur did not take that also seriously. In fact, an attempt to kill him would have been a lesser offense than an attempt to defame him as a womanizer, isn't it? But Haridas Thakur did not take that also seriously. He was forgiving. Okay. Not that we have to imitate him. When someone is trying to do certain activities like this, one may take the necessary action. There is nothing wrong in it. But at heart, we should be forgiving the person. Right? That's what we were discussing in the end. Because although someone is very sinful, if we hold some negativity or grudge or envy or hatred towards a person, even if he's bad, how can we get entrance into the spiritual world? We may take a necessary action against that person as it is mandatory for his own rectification and for the protection of the society from such attacks, etc., etc. But at heart, don't hold any negativity. Okay, that's what we were trying to say many times through different examples. Haridas Thakur never had any bitter feelings against Ramachandra Khan or Gopal Chakravarti. Okay, but he disagreed with them. Prahalad never had any bitter feelings or hatred towards Hiranyakashipu, but he never agreed with him. Okay, Yudhishthir never had any hatred towards Duryodhan, but he fought against him. Right? Take a necessary action if needed as a matter of necessity, but protect yourself, protect the innocent. All this is great, but at heart, don't hate the sinner. Okay, so then that forgiveness, the quality of forgiveness within the heart, will manifest as tolerance outside. Okay, so in Uddhava Gita, Krishna himself says, I am the forgiveness of the tolerant. Okay. Many people tolerate inconveniences, insults, failures, defeats, etc., etc. Many people will tolerate. But of all those people who have the ability to tolerate, Krishna is forgiveness. So tolerance based on forgiveness is sustainable and is appreciated, and that is Krishna himself. Tolerance based on one's inability to take an action is not greatest tolerance. Of course, that also can be appreciated, but you are tolerating because you have no option. You can't do much about it. That's why you're tolerating. If at all I have some ability, I'll just kill this fellow. Then if that feelings are inside, but externally we are keeping quiet, that's not exactly tolerance. There is a tolerance associated with forgiveness. Okay. And that external tolerance and internal forgiveness towards an offender will make one pray for that offender, become a genuine well-wisher of that offender. Oh Lord, this person's brain is completely corrupted. His heart has become very malicious. He's acting so inappropriately. Can you please rectify his mentality? Can you please bless him in such a way that he comes to good intelligence and acts appropriately? So like that, a devotee who has the quality of forgiveness prays for the offender, not praise for the offender. There's a difference between P-R-A-Y and P-R-E-Y. Okay. So P-R-E-Y means you're trying to, catch him and punish him. Yeah, that may be required also. That may be required. Definitely, a culprit has to be punished. However, that should not compromise on our heart. So we can be thick-skinned, but we need not be hard-hearted. Okay. So being hard-hearted is different from being thick-skinned. Being thick-skinned means what? It's generally used in way where you're asked, okay, don't get so overwhelmed. Don't become so affected. Don't become so susceptible towards this inevitable happiness and distress and all. Be a little thick-skinned, okay? Maintain some equanimity, maintain some tolerance. Be sthita prajna, okay? Please understand the inevitability of material dualities and understand that happiness and distress are very temporary. Don't get affected. Be a little thick-skinned, okay? So be sportive. So these are the terms that we use generally to make one be resilient, right? We should have the resilience quality. We can't be so overwhelmed with the ups and downs of life. We need to deal with them definitely, but we can't get so affected. Okay? So that is being thick-skinned. But being thick-skinned does not mean being hard-hearted. Okay, by learning philosophy, when we become little thick-skinned, okay, fine, things go up and down, don't worry, let's not get affected so much. Yeah, that's great. But you don't have to be hard-hearted. So your understanding of philosophy, your being thick-skinned should not make your emotions, it should not make you emotionless, should not make you feelingless, should not make you desireless. Okay, should not make us hard-hearted like stones. Gnanis do like that. They don't get affected by anything that's happening in front of them. Okay, not that they are so spiritually elevated. Yes, they may be to some degree. However, they are oblivious. Don't be oblivious. Okay, we can be oblivious to temptations, but we cannot be oblivious to others' suffering. When people are suffering, either with their physical diseases or with their poor mentalities. When a person is envious of other people, and a person is harming other people, offending them, we need to be pitiful. We need to become concerned. Oh, this person has become a victim of his own material mind. That's a matter of pity. He's pitiable. Okay. Yeah, when we see a person doing such nonsense, there may be anger. Anger may be the immediate emotion of an average person. But what is the emotion of a devotee? Compassion. So seeing the fallen situation, fallen mentality. When someone is physically getting troubled, someone has some chronic disease or some deformed body or unable to get some food, struggling with some kind of difficulty, we may see them, we may become little kind, concerned. Okay, but someone has poor mentality, troubling people, torturing people, being very toxic, that will induce anger in the heart of a normal person, not pity. But devotees are in a different plane. Devotees become compassionate. Compassion is not expressed in terms of supporting them and their nefarious activities. The compassion there is, oh, he is a pure soul, supposed to be having a pure mind, pure intelligence, but he has become a victim of false ego. He's doing all kinds of nonsense towards common people. So there is a compassion, and there is a prayer offered about that person, for that person. Oh Lord, please rectify that rebellious mentality in that sinner. Okay, so because physical troubles, physical problems, when we see in others facing physical problems, we may become little kind, but being envious is a mental problem, right? So devotee, Prabhupada writes, a devotee forgives and forgets any offense against oneself. Prahlad Maharaj prayed for his father. So you want an example, a powerful example of forgiveness is Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj lovingly invited Durvasa Muni, please take some prasad at my home. Durvasa Muni agreed, but that same Durvasa Muni tried to kill Ambarish Maharaj because Ambarish Maharaj took little water just to break his Ekadasi fast. Durvasa Muni got offended by this. How can you drink water before feeding me? I am your guest. You are supposed to be the host. What has happened to your hospitality? He's so egoistic that he felt that he should be respected more than the Ekadashi Vrata. And he understands, the Durvasa understands that, oh, he did Ekadashi, has been fasting, and he is supposed to break the fast at a particular time, and I was delaying, I was not coming back to the palace from the water, from the Yamuna, from river. Therefore, he took little water just to break his fast, just to honor the Ekadashi Vrata. I should not take it so seriously. So Durvasa Muni could have applied this common sense, but he did not do so because of ego. When we are egoistic, we lose common sense. Okay, when there is too much of false ego and pride in the heart, one cannot even have simple intelligence to understand what is right, what is wrong. Okay, that ego and anger that is a product of ego will make one so act so foolishly that even obvious things they can't understand. He did not mean to offend you. Please understand, he did not mean to offend you. He was just honoring the Ekadashi Vrata. And he did not take a full meal, by the way. He took little water only. Okay. So why should you get so affected? Why are you attributing too much of self-importance to yourself? If he had taken just one moment to introspect about his own response to the situation, he could have understood that, oh, he is not at fault. It's a simple thing. Why should I get so offended? But in anger, in ego, in pride, one fails to think with a cool head. One loses one's common sense also. One becomes oblivious to the obvious. Obviously, he has not done a great mistake. But he is so oblivious to the fact that Ambarish Maharaj did not commit a great offense, but he is so obsessed with the fact that I am a Brahmana, how can he dishonor me? Okay. So that is because of attributing too much of self-importance. Okay. There's obsession with false ego. We become oblivious to the obvious. Okay. So that's about Ambrish Maharaj. But Ambrish Maharaj waited for 1 year for Durvasa Muni to come back. So Darshan Chakra came out to kill, to protect Ambrish Maharaj and to kill Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, as you know, he went to Shiva, he went to Brahma, he went to Meru mountain, he went here and there. Finally, he went to Vishnu, and Vishnu also said, no, I cannot do anything, go and fall at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj. Then Durvasa Muni came and offered prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet of Ambrish Maharaj, and Ambrish felt so embarrassed. Ambrish was not at all considering how Durvasa Muni has offended him. What has happened to me? If he had killed me by creating the fiery demon, what would have happened to me, my family, my citizens, etc.? He was not thinking in the direction only. Ambrish was only thinking that I could not feed this Brahmana. I called him for a meal, but he did not eat meal at my home till now, 1 year. And on top of it, he is being chased by Sudarshan Chakra, trying to kill him. So Sudarshan Chakra, please stop, don't kill this Brahmana, don't do that. If at all I have done any pious activities or spiritual activities as a return gift to all my spiritual activities, please forgive this Brahmana. Please spare the life of this Brahmana. That was the prayer offered by our Ambrish Maharaj. Can you just imagine the amount of forgiveness that he's exhibiting here? Like you can't imagine how forgiving a Vaishnava could be. He's trying to save the life of a person who tried to kill him in 100 different ways. And with a pure heart. Not that Ambrish wants to take credit. He wants to prove himself. See, I am so forgiving. Sometimes people, while exhibiting forgiveness, demonstrating forgiveness also, have a light sense of ego within. That, you see, उतना बड़ा गलती किया, मैंने माफ कर दिया उसको. Okay, there is a sense of ego and pride in demonstrating the quality of forgiveness also sometimes. But Ambrish did not take credit at all. He did not take any credit for saving. It was only because of Ambrish's prayer that Durvasa's life was spared. Shiva could not protect him. Brahma could not protect him. Vishnu could not protect him. It was Ambrish who could protect him. But Ambrish has absolutely no sense of doership. Ambrish did not feel that, hey, I have protected this sage. Okay, he is having so much superiority complex. He is thinking that he's a Brahmana and I'm a Kshatriya. I'm low. He's thinking he's a sannyasi and I'm just a grahastha. Low. He has a great sense of superiority complex. I have inferiority complex. He saw me inferior. See, now it is established to the whole world who is superior and who is inferior. I am superior. He is inferior. He fell at my feet. I did not fall at his feet. I saved him. Sometimes people even boast also. I have suggested him to do like this. Right? I have guided him in this way. I have forgiven him. I have been tolerating him since a long time. It may be fact also, but sometimes the tone or the mood, more than the tone, the mood in which one says could have a tinge of pride. But Ambrish did not take even slightest amount of credit for saving the life of Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni was so overwhelmed with gratitude, and he just could not understand how can a person be like this. I tried to kill him and he saved my life. And on top of it, he's not taking any credit for saving my life. He's not showing any pride, and he's only feeling so bad and guilty that he could not feed me. After saving Durvasa Muni's life, you know what Ambrish Maharaj said? You came to my home for a prasad. I could not feed you till now. Can you please take some prasad? That's where he's stuck. Completely stuck. So from a logical perspective, it seems that, what is this? He's a sentimental person. He may think like that. Like he's such a great... Nowadays in Kali Yuga, if someone behaves like that, okay, definitely every lawyer will take the side of Ambrish Maharaj. Every common man also will take the side of Ambrish Maharaj, and they will throw stones at Durvasa Muni. But Ambrish Maharaj did not allow that to happen. Ambrish Maharaj only had respect for Durvasa Muni. He said, I could not feed you. Can you please take? And in what condition he said that? He has been fasting for 1 year. Ambrish Maharaj did not drink even water, even to break his Ekadasi fast or whatever. For this 1 year, so many Ekadashis came, right? He did not even take water also for 1 year. He has been waiting. When will Durvas Muni come back? It happened all of a sudden. Sudarshan Chakra came, destroyed the demon, and Durvasa started running away. Sudarshan Chakra started chasing him. And only after 1 year, he has seen both of them. Sudarshan Chakra back and Durvasa Muni back. For 1 year, Ambrish Maharaj was standing there only. What happened? What happened? What happened? And he's doing Brahmanda Brahman. Durvasa Muni is doing Brahmanda Brahman, going to Kailasa, going to Brahmaloka, going to Vishnululoka. He is doing all the tour of the universe, and Ambrish is waiting there. When will Durvasa come? I have to feed him. I called him, I invited him. I did not feed him till now. Poor fellow, where is he? Just wandering everywhere. He is just waiting. So he was fasting. He wants to feed him. He got stuck there. Okay. So not that he's a sentimental person, or not that he doesn't have the sufficient logic to think. But it's the nature of a devotee to only think about others and not about oneself. Right? It's not about my convenience. A devotee is one who doesn't think too much about one's own convenience, one's own comfort for either body or mind or ego. Right? We are not looking forward for our own egoistic satisfaction. Let the whole world pamper my ego. So recently, Giriraj Swami Maharaj came here to GEV. He gave multiple classes. In one session, he was mentioning that we may not exactly think that we are gods. We are God, I am God. We may not think like that. Okay, we may not feel like that. But consciously or unconsciously, we think that we are the central characters in our lives. I am the hero, or I am the heroine. And all these people around me are playing their small characters in this movie where I am the central character. I am the hero, right? So, like, we think about ourselves, right? We put ourselves in the center and others are playing their little part. Seeing life from one's own perspective is common, but unconsciously there is a great amount of ego, false ego associated with it. Right? I am the center of my life. I am the center of this life, and their whole world revolves around me. They're coming and playing their role, and then they're moving. Okay, but the whole process of Bhakti Yoga is meant to keep Krishna in the center, and Krishna is the hero, and whoever is rendering service to Krishna and guiding me in rendering service to Krishna is another hero. So I am just a small character in this big movie where Krishna is taking the central stage. And this is the mode of Balaramji also. In Vrindavan pastimes, Balaramji is equally powerful, equally beautiful. He is similar to Krishna in almost all possible ways. But Balaramji always acts like a side character, while Krishna takes the central stage. He is the hero. So all the Vrajavasis, whether they are elders of Krishna or younger than Krishna or equals to Krishna, whether they are Gopas or the Gopis or cows or calves, whoever, everybody has this one common consciousness to keep Krishna in the center. Okay, when they're taking prasad on the banks of Yamuna, they put Krishna in the center. All the other Gopas will form concentric circles. I am a part of first circle, second circle, third circle, 10th circle, 100th circle, but the middle of the circle is Krishna. No Gopa likes to take that position, central stage, where Krishna, I think you have been sitting in the center for a long time. You let me sit in the center and you go in and sit in the seventh circle, that seat in the northeast direction. No one says like that. Even if they say like that, we can be rest assured that they are keeping Krishna only in the center of their hearts. Not necessarily physically in the center of circle, but at heart, they are keeping Krishna only in the center. Okay. So all the thoughts, feelings, desires, and activities of Rajavasis are meant only to please Krishna. Krishna is the center of all their activities. Wherever they are, they will think about Krishna. And this is the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness. And when we are keeping Krishna in center, naturally, we keep Krishna's devotees also in a higher pedestal than oneself. This devotee is rendering service to Krishna in this particular way. That is also important service. Even a sadhaka also has a tendency to think that my service to Krishna is more important than their service to Krishna. It may be so from one perspective, but a devotee never demeans another devotee for contributing, quote unquote, contributing little lesser than oneself. Okay. It's not about less or more contribution. It's about the mood of contribution. A nut or a bolt may be very small. A screw may be very small in a big machine. And there may be a bigger limb of the machine that's doing the major work. But the presence of that nut or bolt at that particular place is very crucial for the overall functioning of the machine. In that sense, every single part of the machine is important for the overall operation of the machine. Some parts may be big, some parts may be small, but every part is important. If every part is not important, why would the manufacturer keep that small screw there? I have this laptop, and below the laptop, there are 4 screws. If you unscrew, then you can open the laptop. So one little screw, hardly 3-4 mm or 5 mm deep, and the tip of it is hardly 2 mm diameter or 1.5 mm diameter. If that little part, it's not visible oftentimes, it's below the laptop. I can only see the screen all the way. Screen and keyboard, maybe this mouse pad, that's all. But there are so many screws and rotating parts inside, and everybody doing their job, right? So when there is false ego, we attribute too much of importance to oneself. Of course, our service is important to us. We should render the particular service given to us by Guru. Okay, that's definitely, that's our priority, definitely. But that does not mean we demean someone else's service, or we consciously or unconsciously think that my service is more important, what they are doing is useless. Okay, so coming back to the forgiveness thing, real forgiveness must come from the heart. In the beginning, we may forgive someone on a superficial platform, but real forgiveness takes some time also to come from heart. Okay, so, and especially if our experience has been very traumatic, it may take even longer time. Okay, or it may seem that it's impossible to forgive. Okay, but we should pray to Krishna for the ability to forgive. Krishna, let me forgive this person. I may take an action, that's okay. Okay, taking an action is fine. We discussed it several times, but we should really forgive, and we should pray to Krishna for the ability to forgive, because Krishna understands our intentions and prayers. Okay, if we do not have the power or ability to forgive someone, Krishna will bestow it upon us if we have willingness to forgive. So let me not hold grudge towards anyone. So yeah, these are some thoughts on forgiveness. And there are so many beautiful shlokas that are highlighting the quality of forgiveness. When we forgive someone, we feel relieved, we feel peaceful, we feel enlivened. When we're holding grudge against someone, naturally, we feel very overburdened. we feel very, heavy. With this, I'll conclude the topic of forgiveness. Next topic is compassion. Okay. So again, these two are associated qualities. But before I start the discussion about compassion, maybe I'll take some questions if someone has any questions. I think Sanjay Prabhu, you had a question last time and we could not take it because we were going beyond time.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. No, you have taken Prabhu that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Any other question or comment at this stage? Yes, Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu, I have question. Please accept my humble obeisances. So Prabhu, sometimes what happens is, since we are in Krishna consciousness for a few years, so we understand that the credit goes to our guides, Guru Maharaj and Krishna. But that is like in theory, in principle, we agree to it definitely. But sometimes because of long conditioning, there is a tendency that inside heart enjoys some like achievements or some appreciations or certain things. So that doesn't feel very proper, although we are giving the credit, passing on, but still there is the tendency of enjoyment.
It's there, definitely. To be happy for doing some good service is not wrong. Okay. We can be happy, but that happiness should not convert into overconfidence or pride, or not acknowledging the blessings that we have received from great souls. Right? When we are very proud, naturally, we can't acknowledge the blessings that we received from others. That's the biggest issue. But when there is humility in the heart, although we are rejoicing, we are feeling very happy for doing some good service. The happiness is basically, this so-and-so devotee is pleased with my seva. Krishna is pleased with my service. Guru is pleased with my service. And Vaishnavas are pleased with my service. That pleasure makes me happy. So we can feel happy when we do some good service, but we should not feel proud for doing that good service. Okay. And as far as passing on credit is concerned, yes, we may verbally say that I have done this only because of the blessings or guidance of this Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru or these great Vaishnavas, my dear friends, etc. But sometimes we may not be able to verbally say also, but at heart, we should transfer the credit to great people. But it will happen over a period of time. Initially, when a small child has done something good and people are appreciating, and the child becomes so happy, right? Sometimes you see, children ask some questions in our online classes. And you answer the question. And sometimes when I'm answering the question, when the question is coming very nicely, I would appreciate the kids' questions. Sometimes they are so happy with the appreciation of the question, they don't hear the answer only. And their happiness is also expressed in their smiles, looking at their parents. He asked this great question. For some very younger kids, even the ability to ask a question also is very less, because they can't frame a sentence completely sometimes, or they may not. Of course, I also can't frame sentences properly sometimes. Okay, but to be able to ask a question, unmuting themselves in front of 100 people itself is an accomplishment for them, right? When they're able to confidently ask a question, that itself gives them so much joy. Okay, and they look at their parents or their elders, and they will the happiness is seen. Okay, happiness of accomplishment is seen in their face. Okay, not sure whether they have heard the answer or not. Sometimes they hear also. like when we are small, just to do some little service brings a lot of happiness in us, and there's a sense of accomplishment there. But when we grow a little bit, little grown-up children are there. When they ask question, that's a very genuine question. Okay, it's not like a playful question. Asking itself is a very great thing. Not like that for them. They're little grown-up, some 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard. When they come there, they're able to think on their own, and they're really seeking answers. Right. So then they focus on the answer, not the question. Okay, not their ability to ask question. And when grown-up devotees are there, like adults are there, so when they ask questions, yes, they are really seeking answers, and they have become more mature. And now the whole point which is being discussed comes in the center stage. Okay. So similarly, in our bhakti also, initially we may feel a lot of happiness and sense of accomplishment doing something. But as we grow, we understand I'm able to do this only by the grace of so many people. So naturally, the transfer of credit will happen when we become more and more humble by the practice of bhakti. I don't know if you're able to get the connection. So
Yes, absolutely.
it just happens organically. Hopefully organically it happens. But when we are very that you may not see a direct connection, but I would say it has a great connection with chanting. It may not sound very logical, but it has connection with chanting. The more prayerful we are while chanting, not the external alertness that we show in chanting. Okay, sitting with back erect, sitting at one place, cross-legged, and not moving from first round to 16th round. These are all great. Okay, these are all external facilities or activities that we do for chanting, but the mood of chanting, when we are more prayerful and dependent on Krishna while chanting, naturally the tendency to transfer credit to Krishna, transfer credit to Vaishnavas will happen. When the chanting is not proper, when the mood of chanting is not proper. When I'm saying chanting, I'm not speaking about the quality of utterance. I'm speaking about the quality of feeling. I'm not speaking about the sitting posture when I'm saying chanting. I'm speaking about the prayerful mood. Okay. So when that mood of good chanting is there, naturally we transfer credit to superiors. We don't become so eager to be praised. We don't become so excited to hear one's own glorification. Rather, we are very excited to hear Krishna's glorification, Guru's glorification, glorification of other Vaishnavas. It will happen organically as we grow more and more. Let's stick to the process. Let's not worry so much, but because such a question is asked, that's a proof that there is a genuine desire to give credit to Guru and Krishna and Vaishnavas, and there is no greed to accept all the credit for oneself. So the question itself is the beginning. Okay. Does it make sense, Mataji?
Yeah, absolutely, Prabhu. So just one follow-up I have, Prabhu, if that is okay. So as you said, like I believe that to this also the answer could be that as we grow in our Krishna consciousness, as our mood properly situates while we are chanting, and we are more and more dependent, so we will definitely develop those qualities. But like sometimes what happens is like as you pointed out, that when we are in the center, so it is very difficult. So I'm now seeing that we are trying to remove ourselves from the center, and we are trying to bring Krishna in the center, but still we are not up to that level where we are seeing Krishna in the center. At least I'm talking about myself, that I'm not seeing Krishna in the center all the time. And I'm just seeing that, okay, I'm trying to remove myself from the center, but that is also not achieved completely. So it's like a space in between where I'm not able to enjoy myself. I'm not getting Krishna either. So it creates a very patch of dryness or parched feelings sometimes. It feels like, oh, what's going on here?
That the situation that you are describing is the situation of a sadhaka. That's a bona fide sadhaka, right? When we are able to completely transfer credit to Krishna, we are a pure devotee. When we are not transferring, when we are being very greedy to take credit, we are a conditioned soul. We are in the middle, right? You said. So that middle is a bona fide sadhaka. So we need to go in this direction, not in this direction. That's what we need to see. So when we are going like this, sometimes we do like this. Fine. Overall movement should be in the like in this direction. Okay. So sometimes we may just go back and forth like that. When we are walking from this place to this place, all steps are towards the direction. Some steps may just go back and then come again forward. That's all right. Okay.
Yes.
But they should not be totally towards this direction. Sometimes we may just go a little behind because of poor consciousness or whatever it may be. But overall movement should be in that direction or within particular time. From morning to evening, I have traveled this much. Fine. I have moved in my journey this much overall movement, displacement. Okay. But within that time frame of say 12 hours, maybe I have made some movement towards the opposite direction. And again, I resumed my journey towards the forward direction, right? So overall, the cumulative effect of it should be positive. That's what a bona fide sadhaka is.
It says there is some little fear of becoming a stone, Prabhu, sometimes, like losing all the feelings. There is a fearful situation like that.
No. Bhakti is not to be done mechanically. Bhakti is not done like a machine, like a gnani, where feelings are just kept aside, emotions are kept aside, desires are kept aside. We just function like a robot. Okay, morning 4:30, this is what I have to do. 5:30, this is what I have to do. Yeah, your schedule can be mechanical sometimes for all good reasons, but ultimately, without the underlying emotions for Krishna and devotees, one cannot effectively progress towards Krishna. It's not a mechanical path. It's a very, very personal path. Especially Bhakti Yoga is very personal. Okay, we are not people of rules and regulations. We are people of emotions and love for Krishna.
Right. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Paramatma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was just focusing on Ambarish Maharaj begging the Lord for the forgiveness of Durvasa Mahamuni. In that context, you said written gifts can work. Okay, whatever pious I did and etc. So can you please elaborate a little bit how the spiritual credits or spiritual activities which one does, how can he give that credit to someone, and to whom we can give, for a living person or who is past person? I don't know. I'm just trying to understand a little bit.
Now, in this, more than transferring the credit, like we may transfer, right, from one bank account to another bank account. I have earned this money. I have earned, say, $1,000. I'm transferring $500 to this account. Okay. I'm transferring $700 to this account. I'm transferring all 1,000 to this account. I am zero. It's not like that. It doesn't work like money transfer or wealth transfer or giving power of attorney to someone, land transfer. It doesn't act like that. It's the mood in terms of when we are seeing Ambarish Maharaj's example. He says, my dear Sudarshan Chakra, in exchange of all my spiritual credits, please protect the life of this Brahmana. Not that he's giving cash and purchasing his life. Okay, take this $10 of my spiritual credits. Okay, give the life of this Brahmana. He's not purchasing like that. Recently, I went to MI. In Mayapur, there are so many students, and one devotee is 64 years old. He's doing Bhakti Vaibhav there, right? So class is over, 5 days sessions are over, and devotees are just thanking. And this devotee became so enthusiastic, and he took the mic and said, if I have money, I want to buy Prabhu. He was saying that he wants to buy me. I don't know where will he purchase me from my spiritual master or from my parents. Basically, he says his sloka recitations are good. I will take him and let him recite slokas all day. So, anyways, it's not that you purchase someone with the amount that you have, it's the mood. What we are able to see in Ambarish Maharaj's prayer is his mood to protect a Vaishnava. Not Vaishnava, here a sage, a Brahmana, here Durvasa Muni. Like his compassion is seen, his forgiveness is seen, his sacrificing spirit is seen, his willingness to give up whatever he has earned so far, just to save the life of one person, is seen there. So that's what we need to appreciate more than the mechanical process of transferring spiritual credits to someone. It's like when knowledge is shared with someone, it's not that I shared this knowledge with this person, I have lost it and he gained it. It doesn't work like that. Our knowledge will increase or it will be enhanced, and others' knowledge also will be increased. So spiritual credits also, when you're offering prayers to someone, please take my spiritual credits and give life to this person. In fact, you are gaining more spiritual credits by it, right? By exhibiting that quality of forgiveness and compassion and praying for someone else, being paradukha dukhi, your spiritual credits are getting enhanced. He will get forgiveness, he will be saved. That credit, that result also you will get, and the result of such a selfless prayer is one's own credit will increase. You know what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, who is that? Vasudeva Datta. Vasudeva Datta said, my dear Lord, I cannot see people suffering material miseries. I will suffer for them. I will go to hell. I will perpetually live in hell for the rest of eternity. Please transfer all their sinful reactions upon my head. I will suffer on their behalf. You please deliver them. What Mahaprabhu said to this prayer is, I can deliver all these living beings, sinful people, without you having to suffer their sinful reactions. Okay? It's not an exchange. It's not like a monetary exchange or some other exchange of barter system. Okay, you take this and I'll get this. When you are offering a prayer, we are becoming more and more dear to Krishna. The more genuine our prayer is, the more we become dear to Krishna. And that's increasing our spiritual credits. Not that we pray to increase our spiritual credits, by the way. We pray out of genuine compassion. When it's very natural, spontaneous, voluntary, and genuine prayer for the welfare of others, we are naturally increasing our spiritual credits. So whether Krishna fulfills that prayer or not, whether the offender gets forgiveness or not, the very fact that we have become concerned about the suffering of another person and we are genuinely desiring that this person should come out of that suffering, that concern will bring us closer to Krishna. Okay? It's not that we become deprived of all spiritual credit. It doesn't happen only. So with the Rosmani is saved, Ambarish Maharaj, all the spiritual credits are gone or what? Definitely not. His life is spared and he became more glorious, more spiritually advanced. Right? This is my understanding.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. One other point which you said is very important, that we might have a subtle feeling, oh, I guided him, I saved him, I prayed for him. Such things are at the same time. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yeah.
Sharan and Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for wonderful clarification. So I have one am I audible, Prabhu? Okay. So I have one clarification and another I have one question. So first clarification is like, as I understood, we are discussing the forgiveness in context of the thing towards oneself. When we see injustice done to any other devotee or anybody saying anything bad about Lord, that thing should not be forgiven, right? It has to be action, right? So the discussion what we had is about oneself only. When there is anything happened to us, then we should be forgiving. But for others, in terms of devotees and Lord, we should never forgive, right?
I mean, the whole thing is, you cannot tolerate an offender's offensive activities towards a devotee or the Supreme Lord himself. Yes, that is said. Hanumanji did not tolerate the offensive attitude towards Sita Devi or Lord Ramachandra. He burned the whole Lanka. That's correct. We should not tolerate offenses towards the Lord and his devotees. However, that intolerance is a product of our love for Krishna. And we love Krishna, then we also naturally have love towards every living being, including the offenders. And that love for the offender doesn't make sense, right? Love for the offender. The compassion for the offender manifests in punishment. Okay? Like when a person is strongly disapproving the misdeed done by an offender, especially towards the Lord and devotees, the disapproval is a product of a concern. Right? You may chastise someone. Hey, what nonsense are you speaking? He is the Lord. How can you blaspheme him like that? That's a concern. Just like when a child is doing some mistake, grave mistake, parents will become very strict with the child. They will not forgive. Okay? They may become little strict, and they may even punish also. But that punishment is a product of concern. That intolerance or not showing forgiveness, being strict, is a matter of concern more than hatred, more than grudge. Okay? Does it make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
I get the point properly. So let me tell you one example that makes it clear. Vibhishan, hundreds of times he told, who is that? Ravana. Ravana, better for you is to respectfully offer Sita back to Ram, and you just cannot live like this. And your mistake will ruin the whole dynasty of Rakshasas. Please don't do this. So Ravana did not agree, and then Vibhishan had to just leave Ravana, come to Lord Ramachandra, and entire war was over. Ram killed Ravana finally, and Vibhishan said, I will not do the final rites of Ravana. I cannot do final rites of Ravana because he has offended Sita Devi. He has offended you, Lord Ramachandra. So he is a great offender of the Lord and the devotees. Therefore, another devotee, Vibhishan, is not forgiving. Okay? He is saying that I will not do his final rites also. What did Ram say? Vibhishan, you can't say that. You have to perform the final rites of Ravana also, although he is an offender. Because whatever sinful activities he has done through his body, and the body is gone now. The soul is pure. Performing funeral rites is basically an activity to honor the soul who is pure by nature. And because of some kind of misfortune, the soul has entered a material body, and through the material body, so many sinful activities are carried out. So you disapprove the sinful activities, but don't dishonor the soul. So you should perform final rites. Getting right?
Yeah.
So it is sometimes overemphasized that we have to be intolerable. We should not tolerate offenses to devotees and the Lord, which is correct. But what is the mood? Not that we develop hatred towards the offender. Don't tolerate. So keep at that point only. Okay, don't tolerate or don't forgive, but at heart don't hold grudge. Don't hate the person, right? After all, that offender is also a child of God, but a mischievous child of God. Therefore, you have to disapprove the mischief, but pray for that person. At least pray for that person. You may not do anything physically. You may not pray, take all my spiritual credits. Take all my spiritual credits and save this offender. You may not even say that like Vasudeva Datta or Ambarish Maharaj also. But you can pray. You can sincerely pray. Give him some good intelligence. He is being like this. Okay. Does it make sense, Charana?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It's clear. The second question which I have, Prabhu, is like I'm confused now with the discussion about the root of the forgiveness lies in compassion or tolerance or love for the Lord? I'm now clear, just not clear.
All,
Not like
all the above. It's not A, B, or C. It's all the above. Right. You gave me an MCQ. With that, there are only 3 options. I took the 4th option. All the above. Okay, bro.
Yeah, can we little bit elaborate, Prabhu? Like, it is case by case basis or like this root of the forgiveness, it case by case it will change or
Forgiveness
at a time
comes,
3 will manage. Yeah.
yeah, one will be able to forgive with a proper, deep, realized understanding that everyone is a child of God. Everyone is an Amsha of Krishna. I can't hold anything against a child of Krishna. But if that child is extremely mischievous, very selfish, very rude, very harsh, very demoniac in nature, yes, I have to disapprove. I have to take an action against him, either verbally or physically or whatever it may be, whatever the situation demands. So, but at heart, there is no bitter feelings. That's what we have been saying. I think 3-4 times I was mentioning that in the class only. Okay, so forgiveness comes with an understanding about everyone's relationship with Krishna. Forgiveness also manifests from one's ability to tolerate all personal inconveniences, and also an understanding that I will not be inconvenienced by anyone without me deserving it. I deserve it. It is coming through, the pain that I deserve is coming through this person, not from this person. He is a medium he is a via medium through which the Lord is purifying me with this pain. So pain purifies. Okay. So we need to see people as agents of our purification. At the same time, that understanding does not reflect in one's neglecting the fact that someone has misused his independence. So Krishna is so expert that he gives me a reaction through someone who has a tendency to misuse his or her independence. Okay, I need to send this pen to someone who is in the temple. And I saw my neighbor just walking in front of my room. I just give this pen to this person, give it to my friend there in the temple. So he's anyways walking down, it may take 5 minutes. So he'll take the pen and give him. So the person who is carrying this pen has no intention to give this pen to my friend there. It is me who had sent, right? And my friend is supposed to receive that pen, okay, from me. But he is carrying like an agent. Similarly, and he's anyways going towards that direction. I will not give this pen to someone who is in a different direction. No, he's going to some other local village. He's not going to temple. Okay. Similarly, the Lord may use someone who has a tendency to misuse his independence, to act in a certain way, to deliver a punishment or a reaction to someone who deserves it. Okay. But now this person taking this pen there is nothing harmful about it. Okay, is a mediator, is nothing harmful about it. But if this person is doing some mistake, that mistake committing tendency, for example, you see, to be in the security department, for example, it requires some kind of strictness. Okay, some correcting people and all that. Oh, put him there. Right, he can be sufficiently strict with people. Okay, put him there. Don't put him here. When you're having a managerial meeting, you will select a person who has a particular nature to do justice to that service. Some services need some mildness. Say you are in donation raising department or you are in guest reception department. People who have soft speech and gentleness are put in that place. You have security department, you have accounts department where things have to be strict. People who have that kind of nature are put in that department, right? If I am put in security, I will mess up the job. That is sure. If I put him in accounts or something like PR, what is local legal handling and all that, I will just mess up, right? So that's why they put me in dressing. Okay, do you dress the deities? That will be sufficient. That's sufficient for you. So like that, you also, when you're allocating services to different people, you see the nature of the person and then allocate. And some services require a strict nature. Some services require a mild nature. Same thing, Krishna also may use somebody who has a tendency to commit a mistake as an agent to give us the necessary punishment. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it sound
One more
right?
follow-up if you are allowing.
Okay, I don't mind. Our course, number of sessions are same. Okay, whatever I can cover within that time.
Yes, for one more, if you allow, I'll come. Otherwise, if someone has a question, then later. So, Prabhu, forgiving, does it mean only we should forget, then only it is forgiving, or sometimes we may forgive also, but when as soon as we see the personality, immediately all the things just comes on the top of the, and
right. Yes, yeah. Oftentimes it is said forgive and forget, or forget and forgive, whatever with the order. So forgiveness may happen, but forgetfulness will not happen so easily. But it's okay, no problem. How long we will remember it? Whole lifetime we can remember it. But how long is our lifetime? 30 years, 40 years more, 50 years more, 100 years more? We are already into 30s or 40s or 50s. We live for a few decades. At the max, that much time only we will remember it. Okay. So we can consciously try not to remember it. Okay. And as soon as you see the person, that remembrances may come. If that is really traumatic, you can even avoid seeing that person. If that is really required to save yourself from all the negative things. Okay. But Krishna is mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. He gives us knowledge. He gives us remembrance. He can give us forgetfulness also. We can pray to Krishna. Krishna, let me forget this. Please, can you please erase from that memory? Can you please format my hard disk, the brain of my hard disk or the memories from this experience? I'll keep all the other data. I'll keep all the positive data about this person. But this negative data, this unnecessary file, you can delete, right? You can press Control Shift Delete. Okay. So that you please do, you help me. I'm unable to do it. Sometimes you cannot format your drive. You have to call some computer expert to format it. Sometimes formatting is required. So you pray to Krishna to give you the ability to forgive. And the more we meditate on the positive qualities of a person, naturally it is for us to ignore or forget the negative traits of that person. So try to shift the focus to something positive. Okay. So if we focus more on the negative aspects of a person, we will be entangled. So for us to come from that entangle to untangle, so we should make an honest attempt and offer an honest prayer to forgive the negative things. But sometimes it is not proper to forget the negativity. Okay, if it is a service, somebody has done something nonsense, right? He has a tendency to do something nonsense. You may forgive, you may neglect, you may want to forget. All this is great, but when you are in management, you cannot ignore, you cannot forget the bad activity done by this person that caused disturbance to 10 other people. So you need to consciously remember it, keep it on records, and whether written records or whatever, keep it on records and don't allow the person again to come back to create more trouble. That's required. Sometimes in a managerial meeting, one person may, we'll take him again, take him in again, then forgetting everything. But one manager, senior manager will say, no, he has this background. He has this in the background, so we cannot take him back. Really correct. So let's not take him back. Okay, right. So now we should remember some things as a service. Some employee has stolen some money from the accounts department. Okay, he has been removed, and after 3 years, he will come for a job. Right? Depending on how grave the situation is, the background of the person has to be considered, not to be forgotten, must be remembered and considered to decide whether the re-employment has to be given or not. Getting right? There are some perspectives. Okay, we'll go to my next topic. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So compassion. Compassion is the quality which impels a person to make sacrifice for the welfare of others. As it is said within Bhagavatam, that compassion is the quality of a great soul. The words like karuna, daya, bhurida, anugraha, vadanya, these are the words that are used to describe a compassionate person. Karuna, compassion. Daya, compassion. Bhurida, very munificent. Anugraha, one who is merciful. One who shows mercy on others. Vadanya, namo vahavadanya, we say, right? So these are the words that we use to indicate the quality of compassion or mercy or kindness, etc. So, the shloka, Gunadhikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanat anvichet natapai abhibhuyate. This shloka describes how we have to deal with other people of three categories. So whomever we meet, they fall in one of these three categories. One, they're better than us. Second, they're equal to us. Third, they're younger to us or less than us in some skills or quality, etc. So, or less experience, whatever you may say. So towards such people, we have to show kripa or compassion. Okay, anugraha. Gunadhikan mudam lipset anukrosham guna adhamat. Someone who is less qualified should not be oppressed or suppressed, but must be dealt with compassion. Fine, that's mercy. So real mercy means to situate people in eternal truth. There is this 11th canto, Uddhava Gita episode says this, that real compassion is not on the body, on the soul. Prabhupada writes in the 2nd chapter, Bhagavad Gita purports, compassion exhibited on a bodily plane is not appreciated. The example that he gives is compassion for the dress of a drowning man is not appreciated. We have to save the person, not his dress. One may be wearing very expensive suit and very costly rings and a wristwatch and drowning in the ocean. You can't just save the rings. You're holding the fingers to pull the person out, right? Not to pull the rings out. You're holding the hand to pull the person out, not to take the wristwatch. Okay. Although wristwatch is expensive and although the rings are expensive, the person is more expensive. The person is more valuable. So compassion must be done, must be on the level of soul. And on the level of soul means one may try to serve the body also. For example, a devotee becomes sick. You become kind and compassionate upon the devotee and try to help him, assist him in coming out of that disease, sickness, so that he can continue his japa, continue his devotional service, right? So compassion in spiritual circles is towards the soul, and that compassion for the soul manifests as service to the body sometimes. Okay. So somebody is having fever, you can't just say, hey, you're not this body, your soul, get up and chant. You can't say that. Show some compassion and give him some medicine, give him some food, give him some kada. And that compassion that you're showing for the body is actually compassion for the soul only. Okay. With that understanding of soul. Another way of putting this compassion is paradukha dukhi. The Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi because although the Vaishnava himself or herself has no personal distress in any condition of life, the Vaishnavas are distressed to see others in distressed conditions. Okay. But Vaishnava has no personal difficulties because Vaishnava sees misery as mercy of Krishna. Vaishnavas see tapa as kripa of Krishna. Vaishnavas take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is tapatrayonmulanam. Vaishnavas discuss Harikatha always. Iti nandada yogopaha Krishna Rama katham muda kurvanto ramamanascha navindan bhavavedanam. So, navindan bhavavedanam, because the Vrajavasis are constantly discussing Harikatha, they do not experience any material distress, right? So they have the ability to see misery as mercy of Krishna. Krishna, thank you so much. You have caused this inconvenience in my life for my own purification as a result of my own past misdeeds. And in this difficult situation, my dependence on you is increasing. I'm becoming more prayerful and more meditative on you. And this difficulty is also welcome. We may not exactly ask for more difficulties like Kunti Maharani. We may not have that bandwidth, but whatever difficulties are coming on their own, we may deal with them with dignity and dependence on Krishna and accept Krishna's will. And we may even make a humble human attempt to come out of the difficulties, but sometimes some difficulties are beyond our ability to solve or resolve. So we just accept them. Right? When situation is beyond our control, we just have to surrender to the situation. Whether it is good or bad, comfortable or uncomfortable, we just accept it and go through it while depending on Krishna. Okay. So in that sense, because devotee has this maturity, he personally has no difficulties. Okay. There is an ability to reconcile within. So a Vaishnava will address the difficulty as far as it is humanly possible, but reconciles internally that, yeah, it's Krishna sanction. Let me just go through this experience for my own purification. Okay. So because a devotee has this understanding, there is no personal misery. But when a devotee sees others miserable, devotee cannot tolerate it. Devotees cannot tolerate others' pain, others' happiness. They're already holding umbrella. You can't stop difficulties in this life. Just like you can't stop rain in monsoon. Similar, you cannot stop difficulties in this Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam world. Okay. So what does the devotee do? Devotee takes umbrella of bhakti, umbrella of devotional service, umbrella of Srimad Bhagavatam wisdom. Okay. So he protects himself from rain. He's under umbrella. Now a compassionate devotee is one who distributes umbrellas to everybody. Umbrella distribution program. It's like we have book distribution program, prasad distribution program. That's a product of one's compassion, right? It's like you are distributing umbrella of Krishna Prasadam to protect people from the rain of miseries of this material world. Okay. So Vasudeva Datta said, "My dear Lord, let me suffer perpetually in hell. I will suffer for the sinful reactions of all living beings. Please finish their diseased material life. Let me suffer for them." So this is compassion. Okay. So very much aggrieved to see others suffer. And that natural compassion will manifest in the heart of a sincere devotee who is practicing bhakti. Right. So the more we grow in bhakti, the more we spend time in Krishna consciousness sincerely, the spirit of compassion increases. So a devotee in the beginning days of spiritual life may be thinking more about one's own liberation, one's own comfort, one's own spiritual security or whatever. But as devotees grow in bhakti, they start thinking about others. Let me give Krishna bhakti to as many people as possible. That's the spirit in which Srila Prabhupada has moved out of Vrindavan, physically, not internally. Okay, he came out of Vrindavan and went to the Western countries, went to America, and wanted to give Vrindavan to them. He went out of Vrindavan by carrying Vrindavan in his heart, only to give that Vrindavan to people of the Western countries. Okay, so that is done with the spirit of compassion. So when we are growing in bhakti, that growth, internal growth in bhakti is manifested in our activities and mood of helping many other souls to get connected to Krishna. That's compassion. So preaching that is based on compassionate spirit is sustainable. But preaching done just to expand one's own name, fame, prestige, popularity, followership, that is not sustainable. If that's what we are looking for, using Bhagavad Gita, using Bhagavatam, using spiritual culture to make oneself more prominent in the eyes of people of this world is not compassion, right? It's like it's a material thought process basically. So a Vaishnava goes into the arena of common people not to increase fan following, but to expand compassion of Krishna, of Acharyas, right? So compassion is that quality of a devotee that is a product of one's selflessness and a deep spirit of assisting Krishna in reclaiming the conditioned souls. What is Krishna's program in this material world? Krishna's only program in this world, or one of the main programs in this world, is to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. When in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the sages of Naimisharanya asked Sutta Goswami, why did Krishna appear in this world? Sutta Goswami said to reclaim the people in mode of goodness, okay, to reclaim all of us. So compassion in the heart of a devotee manifests in one's endeavors to assist Krishna in reclaiming the conditioned souls. That is basically to inspire bhakti in others. Okay, so when a devotee is going out in the circles, materialistic circles, the spirit is, okay, let me spread Krishna bhakti in these circles. Advaita Acharya, he saw the whole human society engaged in so many materialistic activities, devoid of bhakti. Then he thought Mahaprabhu should come. He offered Ganges water, he offered Tulasi leaves to Krishna, praying him, compassionately praying, Krishna, please descend on this world, descend in this planet. Please spread Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard the description of hellish planets, you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, last chapter, Sukadeva Goswami describes several hellish planets. Immediately, Parikshit Maharaj, who was about to die within a few days, 7 days only he had, already by the end of 5th canto, few days passed, at least 2-3 days must have passed, 2 days must have passed minimum. Okay, so in 4-5 days, he's leaving his body. But Parikshit was extremely concerned about people who are suffering in hell. He immediately said, Adhuneha mahabhaga yathaiva narakannaraha nanograyata nanneyat tanme vyakhyatum. He said, oh, fortunate Sukadeva Goswami, can you please tell me how the humanity be saved from entering hellish planets? That was his thought. Someone may question, you are going to die in 5 days, 4 days. Why are you thinking about people who are suffering in hell? And it's not a calculated question, pre-planned or rehearsed question asked by Parikshit Maharaj. It was so spontaneous. It came out of deep concern, and it was complete also. What is complete? So we discussed 3 things. Vaishnava's compassion is spontaneous, deep, and complete. Okay. Why is it spontaneous? As soon as Parikshit Maharaj heard about the description of hellish planets and how people suffer in hell, spontaneously asked that question, not based on some rehearsal or analysis or being politically correct. Okay. It's very spontaneous for him. How can people be saved from hellish planets? Okay. It's spontaneously he became compassionate. Second, the compassion of Parikshit Maharaj is very deep. Why deep? Although he himself was in trouble, although he himself was going to die in few days, he is thinking about others' welfare. That's why it's very deep. Deep compassion. Generally, when we are comfortable, we can show compassion on others. When our belly is full, we think about others' hunger. Okay. When we ourselves are hungry, we can't think about others' hunger. Okay. Someone comes and says, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. I am also hungry, I am also fasting. Sit quiet and then tolerate it. And your belly is full, oh, you're hungry, take this laddu. You may offer. But Vaishnava compassion is that although Vaishnava himself is in trouble, he thinks about others' welfare. So it's spontaneous, it's deep, and it's complete. Now, why it's complete? A Vaishnava is compassionate not only on one's own family members or society members or members of one's caste or creed or nation. Parikshit did not ask, how can the Kshatriyas be protected from entering hellish planets? Parikshit never asked, how can the Kuru dynasty be protected from entering hellish planets? He is asking, how can the humanity be saved from entering hellish planets? He is not thinking of a certain community or a society or a family or a dynasty. He is concerned about the welfare of everybody. Therefore, a Vaishnava's compassion is complete, deep, and spontaneous. All three are there. And the highest compassion is distributing Krishna Katha. Speaking Krishna Katha and enlivening people's hearts by devotional narrations of Lord Krishna is the greatest expression of compassion towards fallen souls in this world. And it's an expression of compassion to one's own self also. The gopis of Vrindavan say, now Rasa Panchadhyaya is the cream of 10th canto. 10th canto is the cream of entire Bhagavatam. And within that Rasa Panchadhyaya, 5 chapters, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Okay, 10th canto, these 5 chapters, Rasa Panchadhyaya. In that, the middle chapter is Gopi Gita. Okay, 31st chapter. And Gopi Gita has 19 shlokas. In that, the middlemost shloka, 9th shloka, is glorifying Vaishnava compassion. And this glorification is done by the greatest of Krishna's devotees, the gopis of Vrindavan. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinanti Bhurida jana tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. The katha amrita, the nectar of narrations about Krishna is the jivanam, is the life of tapta, those who are undergoing tapas. Tapta jivanam. So material miseries, the tapatrayas torment conditioned souls. For such people, life is given. Relief is given, and nectar is given to such people by those who are glorifying Krishna. Kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham. Kavibhiriditam means even great kavis, great philosophers, advanced devotees and learned sages also glorify Harikatha. Kalmashapaham. This Krishna Katha can completely destroy all the kalmasha, means the contamination of material existence. Shravana Mangalam, by hearing Harikatha, great auspiciousness is created in the lives of devotees. Srimad-atatam bhuvi grinanti ye bhurida janaha. Srimad-atatam means this Krishna Katha must be broadcast all over the world, and whoever is doing that, he is bhurida. He is an extremely compassionate person. So compassion is exhibited to the highest degree when a devotee is concerned about the soul, the spiritual well-being of others, and material well-being, yes, if you are concerned about the material well-being of people, that can also be compassion, but without understanding the spiritual identity of a soul, of a living being, if we are just showing compassion on a bodily plane, that is not the best. Like Bharat Maharaj showed compassion on the deer, for the deer's body, but not trying to uplift the soul, and the possibility is also less. Anyways, compassion is on spiritual platform, supposed to be on spiritual platform, and one who is spreading Krishna Katha, not for self-aggrandizement, not to gain fans and followers, not to gain name, fame, prestige, not to gain money, this and that facilities, but out of genuine concern that let more and more people know about Krishna and let them become devotees of Krishna and perfect their lives. So in that spirit, whoever is glorifying Krishna Katha is the greatest compassionate person. And there is much more to speak about compassion. We'll do it in the next session. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 8:33. If you have any questions on the compassion that we discussed in the last 20 minutes, we'll take in the next session. Or if there's any quick question, we can take now also. Today I'm not in a hurry. I'm back to GV. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll do it in the next session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.